I've got a clean workbench. I've picked up a stack of scrap fencing timber, all treated pine. It looks like potential to me. So I've got these 9x45 fencing rails. I'm going to rip them in half, basically doubling my framing timber, make it go a lot further. And I'll be doing that on my table saw. This is a big bench that I've made up to go on top of a cheap Chinese Ozito table saw. I basically learned how to do this with building a fence, etc., off things that other people have done on YouTube. Fantastic big sheet that I can do all sorts of great stuff on. I've got my dust collection hooked up, ready to go, and then my PPE ready to run as well. Alright, so after I've ripped all that up, I've taken the fence palings and I've just lined them up at the height that I want the deck to be, going up all the way up to the roof. I've just lined them up, and now I'll go ahead and once I've got everything nice and square, is just nail it all down using my bradder, and we'll get through that as quickly as we can, and I'll do 2 walls ready to go to stand up. Now I'll be using 30 mil beds, and I'll be doing those on Ryobi brow. Alright, so now after I've got all those fastened, I've put it back up on the desk with one side up using another 45 by 45 rails, which will be the top. It's upside down at the moment. It means the framing, and I can get it nice and square straight up and down. Right, so then I've the other side and the next set of rails. Now those rails are the base, they're not the top. The thing is on its roof at the moment. And now that I've got them nailed off, I will start the framing process for the area. Okay, so the framing there at the back is for where the hen's laying area is going to be. The one at the front is for the door. And what I'll do is I'll end up building, just out of scrap ply, a little hinged door which will goes up and outwards and upwards. And at the back you'll see that where those other 2 rails that go down are, is where I'll then put more fence palings. They'll run between those 2 pieces, upwards and downwards, exactly the same as I have on the outside, and the same on the other side as well. Now this is where I'm building the laying area out of plywood. I've just basically joined scrap I've taken from my my scrap bin, and I've joined them at the back, glued and screwed, and then I'm lining it up on that other piece, glued and screwed. I'm lining it up on that other piece so that I've got the sides worked out, and you'll see the that comes up from the back of the laying area to the front, so there'll be a roof on hinge that will cover the whole thing, make it easy to get the eggs. And this is what that looks like, glue screwed, the laying area, and then attached to the framework. So once that's been fitted, I've gone through and added the floor, which is more palings. Treated pine is fantastic to go in the base here because it just means that there's no rot that's going to take place at all. I've cut them nice and snug around the framework, utilising the bench tool that I made from YouTube videos, the little jigsaw. I tell you, this is the best thing to have in my workshop. I use this more than pretty much anything else. I use that more than the drop saw. I use it more than my circular saw. I just use it for all of the fine cuts. It's fantastic. I got the whole thing set up using a safety switch that I bought from eBay for just a couple of bucks, a plug straight. Our tool, I've always got my PPE there close by, but it's so safe to use as well and easy to adjust. Got to make one. Then what I've done is I'm making a basic skillion roof. I'm going to put tin on top of that, but I've just added more of that 45 by 45 inside the frame and nailed that off, and then cutting a rail to go across the top. And I've cut that in using my wonderful saw on the bench again, just to get it nice and neat and tidy. And then what I'll do is add some cross members from the back to the from side to side as well. And on the high edge you'll see that there's only the one up rail. I've added a second one just so that I can then screw off the edges, and then that's the rail running from side to side at the bottom and at the top. So finally I've gone out, cut the tin. I needed 2 sheets, so it's basically double glazed roof. So I've used 2 sheets and screwed it down to the main supports, as well then running around the edges with some other screws, and then trimming off the corners with my angle grinder and grinding those edges as smooth as possible to make sure that whilst you're working your way around getting eggs out of stuff, you're not getting your clothes caught up or scratching your skin or cutting yourself open. And then the box at the back here, I've hinged the roof on the top of it. Makes it nice and easy to get inside. You'll see the nesting area there, and then at the base of that I've added a little rail there to stop the chickens from scratching out any of the nesting material, so it doesn't fill up in the hen house itself, and plenty of room for the chickens to be comfortable laying their eggs. You'll see down the corners there, I still need to add another piece, which I'll get to at some point, and just to make that look a lot neater. Front there hinged, so it opens outwards and upwards. The whole thing is recycled. Everything is recycled with the exception of the hinges, the nails, the screws and the glue. Outside of that, I mean, to buy a hen house like this from Bunnings, you're probably talking $400, and I've done that. Apart from my time, I've built this whole thing for about $30. So thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. Keep your eyes on the channel. We'll see you next time.